Now, this past week, the State House approved no reason absentee voting. How do you feel about no reason AB?
I'm opposed to that. We have a process right now in terms of absentee ballots. We ought to maintain that, and I would not expand it. I think that's just too great opportunity for fraud, and then some. I'm going to maintain our current process. I'm opposed to that initiative.
What's the next great challenge that you see on the horizon facing the state when it comes to consumer protection?
Well, there are a number of different features of the Attorney General's responsibilities. One is law enforcement, and that is, I can't repeat it enough, the need for strong, tough, decisive Attorney General, and my job as a judge helps that. Secondly, there is a consumer protection role that has kind of been a historical aspect of the Attorney General's office. I'll maintain that. Now, Mike Cox also has expanded the role of the Attorney General with respect to child support. I think that's been tremendous, and we want to maintain that. Also, from my standpoint, the crime is a problem we see not just in invasion of our homes or neighborhoods with violence, but predators on the internet as well. And the cybercrime division of the Attorney General's office now, the Attorney General Cox has done a fine job on that. I want to enhance and move that forward as well aggressively. The other feature that I think is important from my standpoint as Michigan's next Attorney General is we need to have someone who will fight the bureaucrats. And right now, we need a huge transformation in terms of employment. Everybody knows the 13.8% unemployment rate that we're facing right now. People who are going to be out of a job, no paychecks, and how tough that is. And we see too often in our state where business wants to expand or locate, and the bureaucrats fight on the air permits and the water permits, and really that is saying no to jobs. It's saying no to paychecks. And that has to be stopped. We need to have an Attorney General who will be a partner with the next governor, and I think it'll be a Republican governor. But we need to have an Attorney General who will fight the bureaucrats and be on the side of providing jobs in our states, so the businesses will get a clear message that if you want to come to Michigan or if you want to expand in Michigan for a change, we're going to have a team in place in Michigan that will say, okay, we're going to protect our land and our water resources, but we're also going to make sure there are jobs for Michigan and paychecks for people across the state. And that's what fighting bureaucrats mean, and that's what having an Attorney General who will help us get back to work means.
And you brought up Attorney General Mike Cox. What's one thing that the current Attorney General has done that you applaud, or maybe something that you would have done differently?
I think he's scrappy, and that's important, and he's a fighter. And I think that's, frankly, people who know me know I'm tough, and I know how to block a punch and also give a punch. And I mean that in the sense of issues and values and philosophies and all of that. I'm a competitive guy, and I think that's important in your next Attorney General. So Cox has been scrappy. I'm scrappy as well. I think he's done a very nice job on this whole cybercrime division and on the child support. So I applaud him on that.
Now, his child support approach was something that he sort of started fresh. He brought in new. It was a brand new idea that he had. Is there anything sort of percolating in your mind, in your brain, that hasn't been gone after in the past that you can already look at and say, this is something I want to go after immediately once I become Attorney General?
It's this whole issue of the Attorney General being part of the economic revival and part of a transformation that we need to make in our state in terms of jobs and paychecks and financial security. And what that means, in my opinion, is that we need to have someone a tough Attorney General who will fight the bureaucrats and give a message of clarity out there to business people across the state who want to expand or relocate that, hey, Michigan's open for business again. Michigan is open for job providers again. And I think someone who stands up and say, we're going to have those air and water permits reviewed. It's going to be done within the period of time as prescribed by a statute, and we're going to make sure we protect our land and water resources, but we've got to have some jobs in Michigan. I'm just not going to sit back and have us be a tourist or a vacation state. No, we need to this needs to be a place where we have applied science and technology and jobs for people and their families.
Are bureaucrats, specifically elected officials in Lansing, are they paid too much right now?
You know, I don't get too hung up on what paychecks are. It's performance. And quite frankly, I think everything will be up for scrutiny in this new transformation of Michigan. And if that means pay reductions, pay alterations, that's fine. But the real issue is, what's the performance? What's their on-the-job performance? That is the key. That's how businesses react to things. If you perform, you get rewarded. In Michigan, we need to have a whole different mindset that it's the performance of how we position Michigan as a place to do business and build jobs. We've got to get this economy back or turned around, because we're lagging by every economic indicator you can think of. I'm not a pessimist, and that's why I'm running for Attorney General. I want to be part of a new team that'll help lead Michigan into the next decade. But we can't have the same old tired, worn-out approaches that we've used in the 20th century. If you want more of the same, Bill Schuette is not your candidate. But if you want transformational leadership, then I am your candidate for Attorney General.
And as we look at performance and look at cost-saving opportunities, what sort of things would you look at inside the Attorney General's budget to try and save taxpayer resources?
Well, the Attorney General's budget is about some $69 million, something like that. We have about over 500 employees. You know, part of my job is if I'm so fortunate and privileged to be the next Attorney General, is to review everything. I don't want to prejudge or anything like that. But obviously, whether it's the Attorney General's office or any state office, we're going to have to do more with less. And that's the philosophy that I'll bring on the job, and that's be about the performance.
What's your opinion of Gretchen Whitmer thus far, and how do you see that race shaping up? Should you be the nominee?
Well, you know, I don't worry too much about opponents or opposition. You know, a farmer once told me, you can't plow a straight furrow looking back. You know, we need to look forward. And so what I'm going to do is be aggressive in my philosophy, be aggressive in my ideas, and be aggressive in grassroots organizing. And this is a job interview. And I hope people hire Bill Schuette. And the real issue is, who do you want to be as the next Attorney General of the state of Michigan? Do you want someone who's conservative? Someone who has a tough, proven, decisive record of experience in service to our country and our state? Do you want someone who is tough on crime? Do you want someone who wants to be an aggressive fighter of the bureaucracy? And I'm going to lay out my resume in terms of a job interview, and that's what an election is. And I will put my resume, my record, my experience, my credentials as a judge and a tough, decisive leader against anybody out there, and then Michigan can choose, and that's what elections are about. So I don't worry much about opposition. It's really about idea. You know, campaigns are about ideas. And there are consequences to ideas. Campaigns are about what's your philosophy. But it has to be a big vision approach, I'm convinced, because if you like 13% unemployment, you know, taxes like the MBT and the 22% surcharge, and more bureaucrats, less jobs, you know, I'm not going to put up with that. But if you want someone who is prepared to lead on day one, who is for transformational positioning of Michigan, and someone who knows that opportunities to raise taxes is bad medicine for jobs, and you want to have someone who's a tough, decisive leader, then Bill Schuette is your candidate for Attorney General.
Judge Schuette, thank you very much for the time.
Thanks very much, Nick. I enjoyed this.